What's up, everyone? Welcome to the VALORANT Game Changers North America presented by Verizon. I'm your host, Lemmy Kiwi. By the way, first day here. Hi! We begin our day with 24 teams to determine who our final will be to go to the main event. But joining me today, most importantly, from the Great White North, we have Vancilli, and from his totally real and sophisticated library, Rivington. What is up, Vance? Not even a tree in the road could stop you from being here.
No, but there's a tree behind me right here, right? Nothing could stop me. I've been going around for like the past 2 days trying to figure out a place to cast. Super happy that I have some friends that finally got a place for me to be able to cast from today. But I'm super happy with the crew that we have around here. Mimi for stepping up to the plate yesterday to replace me. But also, Riv, how cool is Lemon Kiwi right now? Her first time hosting, her first time on the Valorant stage, and she just did an intro solo and killed it.
I'm pretty hyped from that intro already. I was smiling, laughing. I was like stretching, getting ready. I'm like, all right, there's some hype to match here. Let's go.
Oh, the check's in the mail. Oh my God. Riv, you're already my favorite analyst because you have a giant cat. Okay, I'm waiting for the cat to be on the desk. Does it guard the house well? It's almost bigger
right now. I have a giant dog right now. Look.
Yeah.
This is about Riv, Vance, okay? Shut up. Oh, wait.
It just manifested a dog.
It manifested.
I think I just screwed up. I screwed up. She's going to be like this the whole time.
This is now pet show and tell.
We're going to go triple cast Riv with me today, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Riv, can you match that?
Not right now. I can't. Not right now. No.
Okay. No.
Well, to get back to serious business, Vance sounds like he's in a box right now. But some players,
box of love.
Some players yesterday had a better day than Vance. They were not stuck in a storm. They brought the storm. Check out some of the top names from yesterday. Had a real fun time, Riv, watching Bungie from having fun on the jet. Although numbers probably pretty inflated after having to face 5 duelists. That was a thing yesterday.
Yeah, there's some competition out here, and it gets heavy. And when that happens, sometimes you throw in the towel, but you don't. And that's kind of what you get. So they did not waste any time, though. They played to it, and Bungie took advantage of that. Everybody else on this, we're going to be talking about Elaborate. We're going to talk about Arya a little bit later as we're watching their match, and just showing up and showing off. And that's kind of what you need. You need that momentum coming into this stage of the tournament.
It just gets me super excited for even the later games to come. Yes, Bungie has inflated stats because, the team had to play against 5 duelists on Haven, and they were just popping up. But it's still also Bungie that had a very good game, against Exit Purple, taking them to the distance early on in this tournament. So this only means to me that as they continue on, we always have like these great Cinderella stories of the up-and-comers, the unsigned teams. Please sign us, and I'm hoping to see that coming out of having fun this tournament right here.
We had a wild day of content yesterday. We had 5 duelists. We had scientist Mimi, regular microphone Mimi, and Gompers had to suffer through the 5 duelists too. Hey, they tried to break that down as best as they can, but we have some real games to break down today. We have 2 matches featuring on stream. Shopify Rebellion versus Teddy Tactics. First time we're seeing Shopify Rebellion on stream. Sick logo. Yes, it's the runner-ups from the Game Changers Championship in Berlin. And the other one is a teddy bear with a Glock. Riv, though.
It's an operator. But that's right, yeah.
Okay. Now you get it's an operator.
Actually.
Even more actually, it's a minima operator, it seems like.
Ew.
I hate both of you. But
sorry I did that. No.
All right, you know what? I'll start with Vance because he has a lot to say. Shopify retained their roster right from being in that championship with Cloud9, with Misfits. Everyone's having these big breakups. How solidified in your mind that Shopify Rebellion is the best team in North America right now?
Well, I think if you want to start off that topic itself, right, solidified roster, if you're moving into all the roster changes of 2023 that happened, Shopify Rebellion are pretty much the only one that's stuck together. And being a runner-up of Berlin, also being a team that was able to now finally go toe-to-toe for Cloud9, after like 8 head-to-heads, only winning 1, but on the most important stage in Berlin, we're able to actually defeat them. I mean, that's a great little storyline for Shopify Rebellion. And even if you're looking at 2023, how things have started, they're coming out with a bang as well. I mean, they're a great roster, great firepower, and I do agree that they probably are the team to beat now looking at 2023 for Game Changers, because if you're looking at another super team that came together, you know, you have X at Purple, you have version 1, but even those teams show that they have, you know, some time that's needed from them to solidify their synergy as they were taken to the limit on past tournaments or even this tournament itself.
Right, and Shopify come in, they're what, 7-3 in their last 10. That kind of includes some of their past games as well too. The Game Changers tournament against G2 Gozen, but that was also a different meta. We see them coming in, flex into this one. But you're right, I think keeping that same team helps them kind of get through those bumps of even changing up someone on the roster, and we still see a bit of play that resembles old Shopify, where they're still flexing around things. They feel comfortable to play whatever under that leadership of Benita. So. It is as it comes. You see Sonder and KP continuously dropping high frag numbers, and the rest of the team being right there behind them if they have to step up during a round. So this is a wall. This is a very tough team to beat, and we've seen that so far to this stage of the tournament.
It must be intimidating going up against this roster. Look at Flowerful in her face, the gamer pose. She means business. Almost everyone is smiling, and Flowerful says, nah, we're number one. And everyone on the desk should feel it. But the meta has changed since that championship, Riv. Chamber is a lot more niche these days than that must pick. And Flowerful, her pronouns were she, her. Because Flowerful was her on Chamber, statistically outperforming Mel and Mary at the time, but these days she's playing more Killjoy and Cypher.
It shows to the ability of the team to flex and understand, like I said, what's going on. Meta, they continue to say what Flowerful, Killjoy, Cypher, and Sentinel, and then you switch Sonder over. She's always Jet Neon, KP, Harbor Breach. So you continue to flex everybody back and forth and figure out what works, and they have a lot of time to do that. There's a lot of teams I think we see after a tournament loss, even especially going that far, and be like, oh, that might be our ceiling. They still know they have a ceiling that they can break through with levels to go, and that kind of camaraderie and that kind of teamwork is really special to see in a squad, and Shopify Rebellion is one of the ones that has that in resounding status.
Yeah, I think you're just shifting towards a meta that, you know, reinstates that Jet back into your composition where, you know, Sonder in the past was able to play different comps, right? Going into, or different agents rather, going into a Neon, maybe a little bit of Euro here and there, some Raze, but that's also because you have somebody that could play a Sentinel role and an Op role at the same time through one agent being that Chamber. But now that, you know, Chamber has dropped off a little bit except for certain maps, you're able to now have more flashy plays with a Jet coming in, still have that escapability, and still have an Op in your team. So I feel that going back to that type of style for a lot of these teams, not just for Shopify Rebellion, I think it's the way to play for these days, at least depending on, you know, if you're running double controller or double initiator or not. That's going to be an asterisk here and there, but it definitely favors the Jet pick over the Chamber pick these days, if that's what the opera you want to go for.
Yeah, I mean, Flowerful, she's an independent girl boss, both in real life and in the game. Holds a site by herself with Killjoy, holds it when it was Chamber back in the day. She can do it all. You depend on her. And I think that's why, if it ain't broke, don't change this roster. It works. But man, a tough road ahead for Teddy Tactics, who are their opponent, making it to the top 24. Let's look at their journey, because it was a tough one. They came from a difficult group, one with complexity in it, and we'll look at that series in a second. But Teddy Tactics made it through to the close qualifier, and I want to look at that complexity series because it looks ugly, right? If you saw the 13-0, the 13-2 on Fracture and Split. But when I did check in with them, they were telling me how much they learned from that series, and more from that series than any other scrims combined. Riv, what takeaways do you have from that series that maybe Teddy Tactics can implement in this one?
The takeaways, I think, come completely in mentality. Obviously, understanding their positions, those are pretty easy to see when there's a stark difference in such a score line. Okay, we lost position here, we lost position here. A lot of times teams can get themselves kind of in a mentality where they played well, maybe we didn't play it wrong and we just got flustered. But I think it was the whole kit and caboodle here, right? The approach that they took is going to be changed altogether. We saw that in their next games, and the mentality, knowing they maybe got down on themselves a little bit. And this is speculation, that they have to just recoup that. A lot of times things get tight, pressure gets going, and it's really tough to calm well. And that could even be the chaos that's going on, right? Silence is chaos in a time when nobody can be down. Everybody has to be picking each other up. So I think this was that learning experience that really rounded out any of the rough edges that Teddy Tactics may have been seeing this far.
Yeah, for me, the biggest lesson probably from watching their game against Complexity, especially the split one, is, you're trying to run a double duelist. You have an initial game plan, but it gets stopped right away. So I think the biggest learning curve is trying to figure out what you could do in the mid-rounding. Can you elaborate that a little bit more into your mid-rounding if things don't go to plan? I'm hoping to see that against this team today, against Shopify Rebellion.
I especially am looking forward to seeing Elaborate, who, when I talked to her, she described herself as an ADHD-filled chaotic duelist and opper, which just sounds wild to me.
Love it. Love it.
But let's look at that head-to-head between Elaborate and Sonder especially. This is the one to watch. Sonder has been playing a lot more Jet on many maps in this GC than compared to the championship. What do you think about this matchup? What do you think about Sonder on Jet?
I think it's going to be awesome. As I mentioned before, in a previous meta when you had a chamber in the comp, Sonder was playing different agents, but she was playing it very well. I remember the ace I had the privilege of casting on the overdrive neon on Pearl and getting that the ace just shocking, refreshing all the time. And now that you have an opportunity to continue to play very aggressively with the Jet, getting your first picks, getting great first aggressive angles against your opponents is going to be a big point to how you want to lock down a certain part of the map with just one single player. So a lot of it is going to be put on our shoulders, and I think that Sonder could definitely do this.
Yeah, looking at how Sonder and Elaborate both have played, it's interesting to see Elaborate close. Interesting, but surprising as well to see them so close in this tournament at the top of all Jets, right? Elaborate just a few players below, really putting up those numbers. It's a lot of these players surprise you, and you're like, wait, where did they come from? And then they're the ones to watch. So if the Jets get picked in this, Sparks will fly, and I'm excited to see that matchup because Elaborate might be on the Rays, which would obviously give us the different, but it still could be a diffie, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
But it's cool to see an underdog like Teddy Tactics come here, and they have a mixed bag of players that have prior GC experience, maybe prior other FPS experience. Some of them, this is their first game. Does experience in these other games, or any at all, have a significant impact on a player's success in Valorant?
Absolutely. Just movements, fundamentals, they have to be on a certain level. And I've played with actually a few of the players on Teddy Tactics. Very dedicated, very just set. Oh, you see them in custom games on the friend list, looking to improve on certain agents, and then just a few of them in to make sure they're running it correctly. And we talked about camaraderie earlier. I think they have it in spades. Honestly, it's such a big group of friends, like any other team. But just hearing them talk, how much fun they have and where they've come from in such a short amount of time, I think, Fancilly, it makes it really impressive. Yeah.
Again, and I see Ender in the chat, so definitely supporting Aria going into that one, too. So shout out Ender, doing a great job over there, out in EMEA, over in Valorant. And hopefully you're going to do this and bring up a fight against Shopify.
Yeah. I know Pinecone and Aria was especially telling me that Endercast gets 50% of his lines from Aria. So she dropped the quote, therefore it is facts.
I think he's actually understating there.
But I'd love to see where this game is going to go in terms of maps. It sounds like our picks and bans are ready. Let's take a look at that. Oh, we shifted away from Vans' cute dog. So Vans, Teddy Tactics picking Split, Shopify picking Pearl. What do you think about this so far?
So this is what I was talking about. What lessons have you learned? So the opportunity of playing Split against a very good team like Complexity, going into the double duelist and figuring out how can we, flush things out against another top team like Shopify Rebellion. I think that if it's still going to, I think you're still going to play your comfort picks if I'm Teddy Tactics, and then just try to improve on how you could counter against the other team. Pearl on the other end for Shopify Rebellion, something that's very common for Shopify these days too, pulling out a lot of that harbor in their comp. Elaborating with the meta into that one as well, Rib.
Pearl, we're going to be getting that Jet matchup. Let's go. That's exactly what I want to see. I think it's Jet as well, maybe for the side of Shopify Rebellion for Split. But yeah, both of those should be pretty explosive. We'll have to see what the harbor brings, because Astra Killjoy Fade, so they definitely go for a different setup and trying to work the stars on Pearl from the side of Teddy Tactics there.
I'm maybe on the worried citizen portion of things. Riv Split was the 13-2 loss that Teddy Tactics took against Complexity. They ran Astra, Raze, Jet, Breach, Cypher. Do you return to this map with this new sense of confidence, or
I don't know, maybe it depends. It depends on when the epiphany came. Was it like the 1 a.m. epiphany, right? Where you're like, everybody get up, we have the answer, right? I think they're okay if it was that one, because that's just like they're cooking, they're ready, they're gonna get into this. But no, but seriously, I think it kind of puts in that mentality that, hey, we have something ready. And now the pressure is kind of on them to show that that's true, because if Shopify Rebellion detects kind of a bluff there, they're gonna know what happened in that last split match and see how to pick Teddy Tactics apart.
And Vance, I'm really curious to see what the agent selection is going to be once we do get into the map. But the last time I did watch Shopify Rebellion on Fracture specifically, I believe was in VCL. Maybe they played in GC. But Sonder is one of the few duelists that like to play Yoru. What is your take on Yoru in terms of Fracture in the meta?
Yeah, I mean, Fracture is not too bad. I think we've even seen Tens try to do at some point there with Sentinels to try to get behind enemy lines with that Yoru. I think it's still going to be very difficult, especially if you're going to try to explode into like a B-side on Fracture. And thankfully, we won't have to see it now. But to bring up a great point on that Yoru, it still looks like a pretty strong agent that you usually use on Pearl 2. We've seen it from Ethan. We've seen it from Giuliano in the past over at G2 Gozin. And I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that out into this portion here either in this matchup against Teddy Tactics. I still think that, you know, it's an agent that needs a big kit and a player that knows how to play that kit very well. And we can definitely see that coming out from, you know, big brains like Shopify Rebellion.
Well, I'm excited for this series, and our casters are ready to go. Our players are hitting the field, so let's go check in with Dryad and Tanner for game one.
Thank you, Lemon. Obviously, the desk as well. A lovely desk, but Lemon Kiwi Dryad, as somebody that you've probably worked pretty close with across I guess across the pond, I guess across the title is the better way to put it there, but joining us and having a pretty strong day. Sorry, I stepped on my foot pedal. I thought I muted there for a second. But we get to finally see, at least on our mainstream for you and I, and with people talking over it, the long-awaited matchup, or the long-awaited team, I should say. If it's not Cloud9 White, it's got to be Shopify Rebellion, and Dryad, we finally get it today.
And it seems like we waited so long to have them on mainstream, but everybody has to be excited for this team. And how are they going to match up against those teams like Teddy Tactics? You want it to be that dominant performance from the beginning, though so far in the 2 matches that they played, we haven't seen splits. This is new territory for Shopify.
New territory. We'll see what they come with. Just the other day, we know that this double dive composition is one that Teddy Tactics likes to rock with, and it was the better of the 2 maps that we saw, but Teddy Tactics really has not had an easy run to get here. It obviously doesn't get any easier with Shopify Rebellion standing across from them, so this is going to be the lock-in. Flowerful on that Killjoy. Benita running just the solo controller, and Astra, double initiator, and Sonder going to be rocking the Raze, which mentioned on the desk, Dryad. Jet, Neon, possibly Yoru, but here on Split, we got to have the Raze, yeah.
Everything, and I love that about Sonder. Such a young but also flexible player when it comes to this duelist role, and in a map that, again, we haven't seen before. We haven't seen from Shopify in such a long time, so it's going to be cool to see that integration of the Raze, how it's going to play out, because Sonder has always had a massive impact, and when you're going against a double duelist comp, you're going to depend on Sonder so much.
It sounds like, oh, okay, never mind. We're going back and forth here. Thought we were going to hop away from the game for a second. Some technical issues, but it seems like they've been shored up just before you guys had to come back to my ugly face and Dryad. I had to make the joke before Dryad did because she would have said something about my ugly mug. So we should be jumping into game here momentarily, as we finally get to see it here from Shopify Rebellion. Obviously, games streamed earlier. I think something that's worth mentioning is they didn't have the cleanest of victories in their route to get here, but they did have a day break in between then, and I'm sure since then they've been able to shore up any of the mistakes that they had made in day one.
Absolutely. And for this side of Shopify Rebellion, it's been really close. They've been able to win those 2-0 matches, but they take it to the distance. They remind me so much of the Guard in that sense. They're going to win at the end. They're going to win 2-0, but they're going to make sure that they're doing everything right and take it one step at a time.
And this is exactly what you can expect here from Teddy Tactics. The double dive, and they want to go quick. It's Elaborate first up, but unfortunately also the first to fall here in the pistol.
One of the duelists is going to be down. Also, the impact that you can have with the paint shells no longer going to be available for this pistol, and just waiting around. This is something the Shopify is going to be comfortable with on this defensive side.
Paint shell's gone on the other side too. Sonder will be without those as Arya, some Splinter Cell action here deep in the back lines. We'll find Lori comes back with the reload, and a couple of right clicks will deal with the Jet, make it a few more as Beta and KP find their way into the kill feed, and it's all up to Astro, who's worked their way up into heaven. A 1v3 with no spike here, Dryad. This is a rough way to start your pistol.
Oh, I thought it was going to be close here, but KP, good for 3. That's the pistol round for Shopify. Also, one of the things that we didn't get the chance to talk about just yet is this killjoy on the side of Shopify Rebellion. A lot of teams, the majority of teams right now, are either playing with Cypher or sometimes even with no Sentinel at all in this composition. Maybe you'll see the Sage that we were used to seeing in this map very well, but this Killjoy is something new, and on the defensive side especially is going to help so much, slowing down the potential aggression with the double duelist from Teddy Tactics.
Yeah, we'll see. They do have 2 agents that can look to go up and over the top of the Nano Swarms, but like you mentioned, if the duelists aren't slowed down, the rest of the team will be cut off by said Nano Swarms. Those are set up out towards the A site here for round number 2, and not much of an investment. It's only Elaborate, who's got themselves a Marshal, and doesn't find anything early.
And really forward positions on this defensive side as well. Playing for contact early on, as we got to see on that B side, but now getting closer and closer to exactly where Sunder's going to be located, and yeah, the Judge is going to get that one.
And this is just a Judge map. Okay, hold up, Arya. I mean, made quick work there of Lori with just a classic goes aggressive. Lori could not react, but the Judge finds another. Meanwhile, kill still found across the map. Bonita there on the trade, and numbers will once more favor Shopify Rebellion.
Leaving the 2 players here in an uncomfortable position to deal with. Pinecone with 3 HP. Pretty much just hoping to find a little bit more, but should be the round.
30 seconds left. 1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, this is... I love the Judge. I love the Judge, especially in the anti-eco, especially here on Split. I love the Judge.
You know what I love? I love Sunder. I mean, such a cool player, such a confident player. One of the youngest ones as well that we have in Game Changers. Now she's 18, so it's not quite the same. But still, I mean, one of the youngest players, one of the most explosive players, and when you're enabled so early into these maps, is just, I mean, set up for success for Shopify.
Yeah, I think although we are seeing heaps of players, the younger players, 16 years old, really starting to get involved, especially in the Game Changer scene. International tournaments, I believe Sonder was the 2nd youngest next to Mary out in Berlin. So
and
yeah,
they were both in the grand finals, which is crazy.
Actually crazy to say that, you know, you've done the things that you have done at the age of Sonder. Now we jump into things here. The attack still continues from Teddy Tactics. Flower full in a bit of trouble. The only one here planted on the site. And, well, that flower has been derooted and is gone. The site's been opened up here for the attack.
Spike planted.
A good opportunity here. And one of the things that he talked about, right? That the forward position the Shopify likes to play. Of course, a risk at the end of the day in a round like this one for Flowerful as she goes down first. And a little bit more of that post-plant positioning that Teddy Tactics was waiting for. Should go their way, though. KP gets his one.
Last player standing.
Oof. Good flash. Unfortunately, just not enough as KP finds their 1. Make it their 2. Unfortunately, not enough there. 2 more just around the corner. And Teddy Tactics, I mean, they're using the double dive to its fullest of potentials. They uproot the flower that was on that A site, and with that, they play a beautiful post-plant.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see as well from an IGL like KP. Has been a star player in so many different ways, and try to do a little bit more for that round. Of course, he's going to go standard for this side of Teddy Tactics. Trying to get a little bit more, and that is a good matchup for the other IGL. Arya on the other side. With this Jed, usually being very, very flexible, but on this map, relying a little bit more on the double duelist. And has had some good performances with it so far. They talked about the improvement that they've made and how much they learned from the past matches, losing against Complexity. So now, in a round like this one, we get to see it more as Shopify, they don't have too much to work with.
No, they don't. Heavy reinvestment in what is usually the bonus round. Well, it turns into what they currently have to work with for now. Meanwhile, Teddy Tactics, an early first kill. No way. Sonder gets one with the paint shells, another with the Guardian. And just when you thought Teddy Tactics had control of the round, that control changes.
And that change, of course, had to be Sonder. With the Guardian having an impact as well. And now the positioning changed a little bit. Playing far back, giving that respect to Teddy Tactics, but with the numbers advantage. Shopify is going to be comfortable here to try to play for that retake.
And understanding the weaponry for Flowerful. She's going to play off the site. Lori just around the corner to try and help the Killjoy out here. Aria stuck in the reload. Able to use that updraft and sneak away. 3 bullets with not enough to take another fight, but here we go. The Kaboom box comes out. Aria goes down, and Saunders still on the hunt. Rocket in hand, and I don't know if that's allowed when you go hunting to use a rocket launcher like that, but Sonder does it either way, and Cal left in a familiar situation against Complexity, a 1vx situation, and they just don't have enough this time around. So with a lighter buy, the thrifty round goes the way of Shopify Rebellion.
Sonder feels so comfortable right now. I mean, you're looking at these plays, it's like she owns the entirety of the map. The way that she's using the ultimate, that she's getting the first kill, the Guardian as well having an impact into a buy. That wasn't the greatest for Shopify, but it doesn't matter. Their race is going to turn things around, and this is one of the things that we talked about as Teddy Tactics are going to be waiting for an answer. Maybe not this round. They're going to be stacking those ultimates. Try to do the same that Shopify did to them.
Get out of my way!
I think everybody's checking their clocks right now to see what time it is, and I think 5 rounds into this one, it's half past Sondering time. So we are there, and it's a very scary place to be. We'll see if Aria maybe take away some of the momentum that's been gained by Shopify Rebellion in that thrifty round. Keeps the utility though to try and slow this down. Aria tries to do it again, this time with the knives, not the classic, but Lori ready for it.
There was a good chance there for Aria, but immediately shut down. And so from so far back, Flowerful having an impact with the turret as well. 1 by 1, the Teddy Tactics goes down.
One enemy remaining.
They're trying to answer back with the judge though, but Pinecone, the last one here.
Pinecone left all on her lonesome. The lone sheriff, all the deputies and all the marshals have fallen around her. She's gonna try and take hold. And she knows what she's doing. She's got the production background. She knows that we're watching that POV in the 1vx situation. You gotta watch the one. Unfortunately, this is a very hard position to be the one.
Very difficult, especially with the Killjoy alive, the turret is still active. Gonna get shot down by Flowerful with that 4 rounds for this out of Shopify.
A couple of wonky rounds. Shopify winning that thrifty after they buy up in their bonus. It then resets the economy in round 5 for Teddy Tactics. So round 6 here, we do have a full buy. We have 3 ultimates online for the side of the attack, and Elaborate is just around the corner from having that showstopper. Yeah.
This is what he said last round, right? You're gonna be stacking those ultimates, and something that they talked about is the learning when they went against Complexity. I think this is when you want to invest those. Rotate, it is a good combination just in time. Teddy Tactics gets 2.
Oh, I mean, the ultimate's just back and forth, near misses. But it's just enough. KP tried to get it back, and it looked like it was going to be doable. Unfortunately, it seems this round does not belong to Shopify. Everything that they put together to try and win this, the aggression inside B main, well, it goes without. And now Flowerful gonna work their way back into this one. Economy okay. Can buy in the next round. 4 players to worry about.
Something completely unexpected, and this is what we wanted to see from Teddy Tactics. That change of pace and reading so well that the aggressive position, the close-up positions that Shopify has been holding. It involved one ultimate, and it was just enough to close it out for the side of Teddy Tactics.
Yikes.
And of course, the two duelists were ready for it.
Ace.
That was about to be a very scary position. KP narrowly getting tagged by that Rolling Thunder in response. So really heads up play there by Pinecone to make sure that the round doesn't get too far out of reach after finding the first couple of kills. Teddy Tactics, they're finding their way back into this game, and they're doing it fast again, but Shopify are ready for it.
Wow. Immediately shut down, and you still have the Killjoy utility to deal with, but it doesn't matter. The 3 stack on this A side for Shopify was a perfect read for the approach that Teddy Tactics wanted to have everybody alive on the defensive side, and this is when Teddy Tactics have to make that adaptation, trying to take that mid control as that Cypher immediately gets spotted.
And a very strong voice for the team in Aria, obviously having comfortability with the team, but also bringing in Pinecone.
Yeah.
You know, playing in ranked games, those two go back and forth and cooking up ways to dig yourself out of rounds like this. Unfortunately for this round, Aria gonna have to do it from the sidelines, but that's a pretty good start back into the round.
On the other side, they knew the Cypher was going to be towards mid.
Where is
So
everyone
backing up for a
hiding?
second. And then pushing forward after
30 seconds
not getting
left.
anything else. That causes one of the players, Sonder, to go down. But the time is running out, 25 seconds.
It looks like Final Destination. Ooh, okay. The fake, it actually works here. Shopify were biting on that alarm bot out towards A. We go Cosmic Divide for Cosmic Divide, and KP, the only defender directly
10
here
seconds
on the
left.
site. The crunch was coming from Benita, but she's still stuck inside of B
One
main as
enemy
KP
remaining.
falls. Benita now working her way onto the
Spike
site.
down
Lori,
B.
what a
One
round
enemy
from
remaining.
Lori. The trade kills there, and Cal looks to hang on, but there's no more time on the clock, and the curtain is closed. The round belongs to Shopify Rebellion.
And that was so close. You give a couple more seconds and Teddy Tactics were about to take it. In a 5v3, and Shopify, they lost all of the numbers, turned into a 1v1. And the time was the salvation for the side of the defense. Really good play, though, from Teddy Tactics. The way that they're gonna go for that reposition across the map. Once they're down in numbers, trying to find it and make things even. And they almost made it happen. Really good play. Gonna be some light chills here.
That stinks. Even in that round win, though, we still see KP coming in with just a Bulldog. We still see Benita coming in with just a Judge. So the economic damage is there. Teddy Tactics aren't too far off from really gaining control in way of economy, in resetting Shopify and then finding their way back into this game to tie us up.
And the Killjoy utility here, the first thing this team is going to have to deal with, Arya. A little bit more with the forward position, and yeah, there it is. But you wanted to see that lurk on the other side. Cypher is gonna get 1. Now you have to deal with a Killjoy, though.
Yeah, Killjoy Util still here. It's been here the last couple of rounds. Lori also in the vicinity, who found 4 kills in that round previous. As Benita quickly deals with the lab brain, takes a look at the dead body, makes sure that it is in fact the dead body, tosses out some Util. And B Heaven is just not a safe place for Teddy Tactics.
Yeah, the mid to
30
B
seconds
has
left.
just been impossible over and over again for this attacking side. Shot down by Sonder. Now by each one of the players, Benita as well, having a roll in it.
Enemy remaining.
Yeah, off, man. It just so difficult there. Arya, if that Cloudburst lands on the turret, there's a bit more uncertainty as to where this Teddy Tactics team is. So we take a look back. Benita also had to admire her work there after finding that kill of the flying rays. Just again, a really difficult round for Teddy Tactics to lose there. They had what seemed like the recipe for a winning round, with Ash True finding an early kill, Arya sneaking up aggressively out towards A. It just didn't play out like that.
And you'd maybe go for an aggressive push by Elaborate here, having even that showstopper just to create that space onto side, but it's been shot down every single time. That double satchel, so hard to get value off. And wait for it a little bit longer with a couple more players on this mid position, and this is a position early on that the Shopify, sometimes they're holding up close, sometimes they're giving that space because there it is, the change of that setup from that Killjoy. And they know exactly where this attacking team is.
It's so nice, too. A little bit of delay off of the alarm bot for the first Nano Swarm, then the turret to play contact to see if they're close enough to the second. Both have been popped. Flowerful will give up the site. Meanwhile, Benita still wants to fight for it out towards B main with the judge in hand, will collect her kill.
Immediately going for a repetition, but Sunder just waiting for it. The combination, it's perfect. Sunder getting his her two, and then one by one, everybody shot down. 7 rounds now for Shopify. And Teddy Tactics, they start well, they have a good idea, but Shopify is just reading it to perfection. Every single time they have different ideas with the Killjoy setup, and this is one of the things that I mentioned early on. Recently, we haven't seen too much of a Killjoy on Split. If we're gonna see Sentinel at all, it's gonna be either that Cypher that you see on the side of Teddy Tactics, or is gonna be instead that Sage. But the Killjoy, something that definitely adds so much more value. And when you're able even to combine that utility with Veneta, it's just so good. Teddy Tactics, they're gonna take a timeout here.
Yeah, that they are. The kills are not too far off what we talked about. I think 5-2 was the scoreline, and Shopify, in winning a few rounds, was still bringing in Bulldogs, still bringing in Judges, which is a fine weapon to bring on Split. Sure, the Judge works in a lot of different angles, but when the player who buys that Judge has 300 credits, that, you know, kind of lets you know that it's more of an economic decision to buy that gun instead of a rat decision, you know, to buy that gun. So it's close. They're not too far off. Astru obviously leading the charge here for this Teddy Tactics squad, and I wonder where we're at in first kills as well. It's probably pretty close with Astru finding early first bloods, and unfortunately, the team also making plays around the map and losing players. Things kind of getting equalized across the map, so they can't capitalize on the lurk kills that Ash has been able to find.
And I actually like that they go for the change in the mid round, especially after one of the players from Teddy Tactics goes down. But again, Shopify, they just have such a perfect read, all thanks to KP. I mean, such an amazing player. She has been one of the best IGLs and game changers for sure last year, and this year wanting to do exactly the same.
Oof. Wow, Sonder getting picked early again. This time it's Cal to do it. That is a scary prospect, and much like I was talking about previously, Ash was finding those kills early in the round, but by that time, Teddy Tactics had already committed somewhere, or committed somebody somewhere, and that player was dying. But this time, all 5 alive. A player ahead, they're able to take advantage of this opportunity, this advantage that they've given themselves, and they're gonna do so through the rocket. Elaborate, what a round, what a sight. Take 2 kills to the Rays, make it 3 on the round, and Teddy Tactics just around the corner from their third.
The timeout being great so far, 5v2, and the last 2 players, sure, Flowerfro is gonna have a lockdown, but with only 2 players alive, having to play this retake, it becomes so much more difficult. It's also gonna get spotted. Veneta, flash everything against her. Heineken's gonna take care of it just fine though.
Oof. Benita just did not care. Obviously was really hoping to get over that trap wire, but kind of just ran into that retake.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to know that somebody's on the other side waiting for exactly that to happen. Where you're not expecting is for Benita to still get one
enemy remaining.
And another look back at the round there, at the site take most importantly. Elaborate. The blast pack their way on. Use that kaboom bot, the showstopper. And also fishes one out of the smoke. A little telling, you know, when there's a smoke on the site, somebody might be playing inside of it. But either way, that is the round that Teddy Tactics needed. And again, Shopify Rebellion, they're no strangers, you know, at least in this tournament, to giving up some rounds that against
Yeah.
teams that maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I like that about Shopify. That they're comfortable playing that long game in a scenario that other teams would get worried when you start losing those rounds in a row. They're always knowing that they're going to be able to turn it around. Showstopper, good for Sunder. Elaborate goes down.
Nice early kill. Backstab for Lori, though. Low HP. Astro just about to drop down. Doesn't want to give up the position just yet. Doesn't want to take the fight.
So low.
Ooh. And knows. Astro knows. Lori just messing around here.
Who's gonna win in that patient duel? There's patience here.
One dead.
Waiting for the right time, and it's gonna be Astro coming out on top. I mean, Lori was already so low.
And the trades, they happen out towards mid. They happen out towards
30
B.
seconds
Pinecone, though,
left.
put in a tough spot. Tucked away here in this new box. Which is not really a new box any longer. Spike in hand with 56 HP. Does not feel comfortable without the team to be able to get this one down.
With barely any time running it
10
on the
seconds
B
left.
side, where Pinecone has been pushing forward, but yeah, there it is. That rolling thunder is just gonna delay it even more. Barely any time. Sunder's gonna swing. Pinecone goes down, and there's no time. Okay.
Okay.
Come
yeah.
on, Sunder.
Last
I love
round
the
before the
judge.
switch.
I love the judge.
Again, like, Sunder is just unstoppable when she's having a good game. Oh, it makes it so hard. Last year, when she had the deep run, when Shopify was having that deep run in the Game Changers Championship, it was the impact that Sunder was having, and we knew how good this team was throughout the year, but I mean, the improvement still, and the comfort that you have to see plays like that one happen is just insane.
Get out of my way.
And this time, no judges on the table for either of these teams. Aggression once more. Arya escapes the
All
stun,
right.
goes aggressive, finds a second. And the Windblade shower, seemingly what turns the tides here of the round, is Elaborate, goes aggressive herself. The blast packs will do just enough to find the site, find the kill, and get that spike planted for Teddy Tactics.
And what a play from Arya, too. Responding right back to the Sunder aggression is gonna
Want to fight it?
give all that space and force that retake scenario for Shopify. They're gonna have a lockdown. Elaborate has to push. Spots one of them, and the utility is good, but the kill not quite there.
Chain shells do deal with the lockdown, though, so the defenders can stay close. Blades are still available. Cosmic Divide makes this one a little bit harder to deal with as Arya plays along the
One
other side of the
enemy
Great
remaining.
Divide. No way, Lori taking control of the round, and Astro has to try and hang on, but Shopify have found a way.
Unbelievable, and they do it again.
No, you don't deserve
Just
my
in time as well for the spike to get diffused, and the play was so good from Arya. From the
Switching
side of Teddy
sides.
Tactics, they go for the aggression, get there too. I think the second one that Arya got as well, she was stunned.
enemy remaining.
I don't even know how that went down with the blades, but
One enemy remaining.
Shopify with that lockdown, with the players as well, with the perfect timing to make it go their way. And wow, this is not something that you see any team be able to do. Just the full resilience round after round from Shopify.
One enemy remaining.
Wow. Yeah, that is... I mean, a 2v5 there at the end. A 2v5 when the lockdown was supposed to be kind of the linchpin. The lockdown was supposed to make it that much easier, and it got destroyed. Now we just get to see Sonder run this defense down. Will be slowed by Trapwire for now, but they're not going to let off the gas at all.
Oh, and this positionings are so scary from Teddy Tactics. Elaborate. Actually, being the one pushing forward. And okay, it actually works out. 2 kills early on for Teddy Tactics.
Another one narrowly escaping. Pinecone, no way. Pinecone just keeps finding frags. First a trade, then has to fight her way out of a bad position.
Arya.
And Arya has worked their way all the way around the map. KP, what a right click. Whose classic is that?
Oh, and it hurts because Arya had such a good timing there. But shot down by KP. 26 HP though, still pretty low. 2v2. And this is, of course, the strongest side for Teddy Tactics. hoping to do a little bit more. Have played this map 2 times so far.
30 seconds
Crossfire
left.
can work out really well, but yeah, Strike is gonna get planted. Both of them swinging at the same time. Sander's gonna take care of the first one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, though, in its paint shells, it doesn't do enough to find the kill, but it does put Cal in a tough spot. Will fake the rotate up towards heaven, but there's still 2 on the other side. The classic and 64 HP. Cal again. In a familiar situation, spots one of the pouches from Sonder, but it wasn't enough to find the kill. Low HP, sure, but it's not enough to get it done. Shopify will find their double digits as they march on forward. We'll see what the response is here from Teddy Tactic.
I know the desk got the chance to talk about it a little bit more, but Shopify is the one team that is still together from last year. There were some crazy changes that happened in the offseason of Game Changers, and I mean, that adds so much more to the table for Shopify to work with. They already have that synergy, they have international experience, they have overall more experience than any other team. And you can see that every single match, even if it goes to the distance, even if they lose a good amount of rounds to the enemy team, they're always able to close it out. That's not something that everybody's gonna be able to do, especially in the first Open Qualifier, right?
The first of many this year. We have a long year ahead of us. Oof. The shot just narrowly misses. The second one lands, but it just makes you think if only Arya would have landed that first, Sonder would have been erased early here in this one. Arya's going to go back on the angle, but the Bulldog from KP will take a bite. And Arya, well, we say sayonara until the next round.
There's still a chance at least to get a couple kills on the side of Teddy Tactics. Everybody was heavily stacked towards that A site. But because of Arya, they spot some players going towards B, so the rotation is going to be a little bit faster than it would have been
30 seconds left.
without Arya in that position specifically. Though Sander still with a judge, still scary.
Very, very scary. I mean, Sander's on corner clearing duty. Oh, but does get dealt with. That judge finds a bit of damage. Cal trades it back in way of headshots from the classic. It means kill for kill thus far. Teddy Tactics, we saw in their last anti-eco, they did pretty good damage to the guns and the economy of Shopify Rebellion. We'll see if they can do it again. As the second one falls for the defense, make it 3. Shopify slowly but surely cleaning this one up. Elaborating Pinecone. Gonna work hand in hand as Lori tells the team to hold the line. I've got you with the regrowth. The clock is ticking. They'll have to find their leave, and for Teddy Tactics,
One enemy remaining.
not exits. Death to the spike seems to be the only way out of this one.
Nothing else that you can do here for Elaborate, as Shopify is going to secure one more round here. 11 on the board for this team, now on the attacking side, and still going with that explosive factor that we know them so well for. Because of that, Sander continues to be at the top of the board. And it's every gun, every duelist that we've seen from this player. And on this race, I mean, I like what I see. I think last year especially, there were so many maps where Sander had the chance to play this race. Like Fracture, for example, and it still ended up going for that Neon, which was amazing. Gave her so many of those aces, so many crazy plays. But this race, I like what I'm seeing early on, and yeah, that's why so explosive. Immediately time for going down.
Well, she's cheating, Dryad. She has a heartbeat sensor on her gun. She can see where the enemies are at, it seems.
Gonna take care of it just fine. And oh, this is heartbreaking as well on this map for Teddy Tactics. The buy that had to be effective, but Shopify with so many different styles on the board. It's so many different playstyles that they like to bring to the table. Part of it is the experience that they have, all the practice that they've had together.
Oh, that was just so nice. The Trailblazers spotted them both. They were still tucked away in an aftershock to split them up and force them to take the fights with the rest of Shopify. No saving here, says the Rebellion, as we push ourselves now to map point in favor of Shopify Rebellion, and a decent buy for Teddy Tactics in what could be the last
It's
round.
not great. It is the best that you can get.
Yeah.
For a round like this one, but it's still 12 rounds on the board for Shopify. And KP, I mean, she has the Rolling Thunder. And if you were expecting aggression for Shopify, you're gonna definitely see it again.
Ooh, but we get some on the other side, and I mean, that's the Teddy Tactics way, right? Up in
Good
your
read.
face, look to take fights, Arya and Pinecone. Dynamic duo will find the first couple of kills on the round, and it seems like there's life yet here in Teddy Tactics.
And this is a situation that we saw before, the 3v5. And Shopify turn it around. If you're in the side of Teddy Tactics, you do not want that to happen at all. And it's gonna be that immediate call from KP. Going to the B side, and still good read from Teddy Tactics. You're gonna be ready for it.
Ooh, this is not a place that you really want to hang out. One player caught. Flowerful ready for the aggression from Spawn.
Alarm bot out.
Now those numbers are 3 apiece
Placing
here
swarm
as
grenade.
we do the post-plant dance.
Arya and Pinecone so low. Less than 40 HP to work with. Depending a little bit more on call. Yeah, that's the first one down. 2v3. Rolling Thunder hasn't even been used. Gonna get both.
Yeah, the util's just too good. Still a flash to play with as well. Good fault line, 1 HP. Cal finds the return. Damage it was too much to stay standing. 4 KP is now. Bonita looks to clean things up, and that's exactly what she
Attackers
does.
win.
A 3K to cap it off.
Face one.
And split belongs to Shopify Rebellion.
A 13-2-3. Very dominant from Shopify. And the last matches that they've had, maybe they went a little bit more to the distance, losing 10 rounds, but still managing to win. And still, though, I like this. Every single time, every post plan even that we got to see from Shopify was so organized. And again, it just goes back to the communication. Definitely a map that we expected go their way, though we still had some questions because they haven't played Split in a long time, and I'm liking what we're seeing.
Yeah, 100%. I think if there was a question mark, it would have been Split. How does Shopify look?
Yeah.
We've seen them have a longer game in day one. I think a 10-13 victory, which, Dryad,
Yes.
we mentioned it with complexity, right? When you're playing these teams that you're expected to beat, you want to beat them as flawlessly as possible. And we didn't really see that in day one, but we do get it here from Shopify. As you mentioned, a 13-3 victory will find them one map the lead, but the map that they struggled on day one is Pearl. That is going to be our second map. I know Shopify, KP, and the rest of the gang have a lot of stuff cooked up for that one, but I don't want to spoil it. We'll let our analysts talk about that one right after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.